Hey, this is Balsley from Tampico, Illinois, and you're watching Takeover TV.
What is up, friends? Takeover peeps, random person coming across this video. However you got here, I'm happy to have you. We're here for another weekly wrap up. Let's get into things. I've got a new little friend hanging back there. He was in the last video. I didn't mention him. I'm trying to come up with more things I want to put behind me. That was a gift that I got from my in-laws who went to Copenhagen a few weeks ago. Came back and brought me that fun little angry Viking guy. I think what would maybe be fun, and we can talk about this maybe through Twitter, is if there's anything you guys would potentially want to send me, maybe I could open up a P.O. box or something, and you could eventually see those items behind me. Obviously, items you're okay with me having, in case something happened to him that didn't. Don't send me something expensive. Like, just send me something quirky and fun. Maybe we can hang behind. But that might be a fun little thing for you to see something of yours behind me. Feel like you're a part of the channel even more. Anyways, let's get into this week's wrap up. I am going to a sports card show this weekend, and I'm excited to do that. It's just a few minutes away from me, which is awesome. Last time I went there was my first time. I got quite a few good cards from, the quarter boxes, the dollar boxes, the $2, $3 boxes, which are honestly my favorite things to go through. I'm not gonna lie, when I go to a card show, I peek in the case, the cases of the more expensive things or whatever. Generally, that's not where I make my purchases, at least as far as things that are not a part of my personal collection. Now, for the takeover sales that I do on Twitter, follow me there. I like going for the hunt on those cards that I can pull out. And if you go to card shows, do not miss those dollar boxes. You can flip through there if you're willing to put the time in. You start pulling out cards. Sometimes you find a $2 card, a $3, a $5. I've found a $12 card in a dollar bin before. And along the way, I also find personal collection pieces for myself. That is by far my favorite go-to thing at card shows. Maybe if I grab a good amount of stuff from this card show, I'll make a little video on things that I've gotten, and then you'll see them appear in the takeover or in my personal collection. Question of the week. Have you ever gone out of the country? Where did you go? What did you like about it? What were your favorite things? I've only left the US one time. I mean, I guess if you count crossing the border to Canada, but like flying overseas, I've only gone one time. I went to Paris about 6-7 years ago now. It was awesome. It was so great. It was my wife, my daughter, and I. We brought her when she was quite young, which I know is a risky thing. She killed it on the airplane. She did such a good job that people around us asked us our secret, and I honestly don't know what it was. But it was great. I loved going there. I loved the experience of the city. The people were so friendly. I love croissants personally, so being able to go to a place in the neighborhood. We got like a little apartment right next to Notre Dame, and then we'd walk around the city. We'd go see things. We'd go to the museums. We'd go to the bakeries, grab an almond croissant, a chocolate croissant. We'd go to the grocery store, buy a small amount of things to make the meal for that night. But we'd also go out to restaurants too and try things. I love cheeses. I love bread. I love all the things. I love rainy weather. I love nice weather. It gave a good mix of both. I love history. It was just beautiful. I would go back to Paris in a heartbeat. If you have gone anywhere, I'd love to hear about that. NFL news. Lamar Jackson has officially requested a trade. If you watched last week's weekly wrap-up and any of the ones before that, I kind of felt this coming. It felt like the end of a relationship. It felt like a breakup was about to happen. A breakup is exactly what was about to happen. I just wish he had told us sooner so we didn't plan a date in a few weeks and then have to cancel that. Honestly, I just didn't want to admit that it was over. But you know what? I'll cheer for him elsewhere. Maybe he'll become a Minnesota Viking and be a part of my other favorite team. But I also will take pleasure in having the chance to maybe beat the future team he plays for. I don't know. I just hope that they figure it out soon because the draft's right around the corner and the Ravens need to know what to do. We need to make a move if we're going to draft a top quarterback and build the future. I was listening to Shannon Sharp talk about this whole Lamar Jackson thing, though, and he seems to think that there might be some sort of silent, purposeful collusion where teams are dodging signing or trading for Lamar in an attempt to get the guaranteed contracts quarterbacks have been seeing to drop. May or may not be true. Interesting thing to ponder. I do look back at some max contracts though and things that have been offered, and Deshaun Watson was grossly overpaid for multiple reasons, and there's no way Deshaun Watson is more valuable than Lamar Jackson right now. Like I said, we are getting oh so close to the NFL draft. I'm so excited. I love watching it. I watched the first round and then like just sitting there paying attention, and then the second, third, fourth round I kind of have on in the background and catch up on what my teams are doing. Normally, back when I lived in Minnesota, I'd be joining three of my best friends. We go to a Buffalo Wild Wings and watch the draft each year. Obviously, I won't be there this year as I live in Florida. They'll be going to Buffalo Wild Wings and continuing the tradition. So I'll be texting them, but I think I'm going to grab some B-dubs to go just to feel like I'm there in spirit. Let's talk some college basketball. Women's college basketball, to be exact. Caitlin Clark is an absolute beast, and she's on a tear. She's averaged over 27 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, and 8 assists per game this season. She's playing in the Final Four on Friday, which will have already happened by the time you see this video, so bear with me. And in the Elite 8 game last week, she had 41 points, 10 rebounds, and 12 assists. This is just a hunch, but when it comes to her finally having cards in some WNBA product, namely Prism, I think it's going to draw a lot of attention and value like we've not seen before to those products, which I think is great for the overall card industry and the WNBA. In men's college ball, we're down to the Final Four, and we have no number 1 teams left. They've all been eliminated. We have FAU, San Diego State, UConn, and Miami of Florida remaining. I don't have any specific video game news for you this week, but I've been paying a lot of attention to my GameCube collection recently and looking to play it again. I've been very busy and haven't been able to. But I think in the next couple of months, I'd like to add some new pieces to it. So this is kind of a call out to put out some feelers to see if any of you have GameCube games you'd be willing to part with. I'm looking to buy, to play, and to collect. So if you have them, I prefer them to be complete in box, meaning they have like the manual and any possible inserts you have left over in there. But even if not, I might still be interested in purchasing them. Please connect with me on the DMN Takeover Instagram or Twitter. Probably most likely Twitter, I'll see it fastest. But I would love to purchase those off of you in the coming months if you are willing to part with them. There was a big shakeup in the music world, specifically the portion that I deal in. There's a band called Underoath that I love. They've been around for a long time. They recently parted with their guitarist James Smith, who has been in the band for 20 years now. And according to his Instagram post, it seems like he was surprised by it. He said, "I was informed that I'm no longer a member of Underoath. This saddens me to say, but unfortunately, this is where we've all ended up." This kind of bums me out because he's been in there for a really long time. He's kind of the quiet member of the band, the one that's like easily forgotten, but is still like a crucial piece. I've heard that he's not necessarily the biggest portion of like songwriting. I think that that's mostly like Spencer, Aaron, and Timmy. But he's a great guitarist. If you watch him on stage, the parts he's playing is a lot of beloved parts. And now they're out on tour doing it with backtracking his guitar parts and whatnot. But it's just kind of a bummer when you see someone that's been in something for so long get removed from it. And when it doesn't maybe seem so mutual. Like I said, he's kind of a mystery, though. He's a guy that I wanted to know more about. I mean, I've met the guy and had a conversation with him and still feel like I don't know anything. He still feels like he doesn't quite exist. He feels almost mythical to me. I don't know why. I just want to know things like, where did you come from? Like, were you in a band before? Can I listen to that band? I love hearing what people were doing before another thing. It just sucks when what feels like an original member of something gets booted, like I said before. But the thing to remember is this is actually not an original member of Underoath. He may have been in there for 20 years, maybe even plus 20 years. But actually, when you look back, people forget that he became a member of the band when they were recording They're Only Chasing Safety. Like one of the biggest to put Underoath on the map before Define the Grade Line happened in 2003. There was They're Only Chasing Safety. It's a beloved album. He was a part of that. But before that, Underoath had released multiple albums, 3 albums to be exact. So really, James was a part of the second iteration of Underoath. Basically, everyone was. Chris Dudley, the keyboardist, was in a little bit before. I think Grant might have came the bassist just a little bit before, but Spencer was not the vocalist. They've actually gone through completely different lineups across the board, lost a lot of members. Aaron Gillespie is the only original member of Underoath left. It's time for probably my most favorite segment, Stuff That Slaps. Today, we're talking action figures. In 1994, a company called Toy Biz launched Spider-Man action figures surrounding the animated series show that was airing at that time. You can watch that on Disney Plus. I know I have. There's some of my most favorite action figure memories. I remember receiving my first one that I ever got. It was Spider-Man. I got one for Christmas. Then I would get other ones for, sometimes it'd just be me putting my chores money together, things like that, buying it, other random gifts. I remember one time, actually, I've got it right here with me. This Mysterio action figure is a iconic memory in my young life because my mom took me to Target and she bought me this and a pair of Spider-Man pajamas. And then she took me to Blockbuster and we rented a Goofy movie and we watched that and we ate mac and cheese with hot dogs cut up in it. Memory I'll never forget. This guy right here. This is something that I would like to collect all of them on. I think that I'd like to collect all of the pieces in box, and then I'd like to collect all the pieces just to have on my shelf not boxed. I used to play with these so much as a kid. I'll actually show you all the ones I have right now. I have Mysterio, Venom, Hobgoblin, Kraven, Dr. Octopus, Scorpion, and then there's two others in my daughter's room that I couldn't find before this video. I have Spider-Man himself, and I also have the Lizard. I used to play with these all the time. I would do things like, when I was sick, I would use the humidifier as like a chamber that the bad guys try to get Spider-Man in, and he had to fight his way out of it and win the day, obviously. And then when it was the holidays, I would put them up in the Christmas tree and have them do an epic battle top to bottom and trying not to fall out and things like that to their doom, all those things. Super fun, loved doing that. Certified slapper. Let's throw a quick bit of sports card news that I noticed this morning into the mix. Fanatics announced that they're going to be doing something very interesting with game used pieces in future product. They're creating an MLB debut jersey patch that they'll be attaching to certain players' uniforms on their opening day. And then following the game, the patch will be removed, authenticated by the company, and eventually placed in future products. So it's kind of a one-of-one thing when you think about it. I mean, they're only wearing one jersey on the debut day. And I think this is a really cool aspect and especially around when people were like not so sure what Fanatics has around the corner. This is a really big positive thing for them. And it speaks to something that I've really missed about sports cards in the game used segment, and that's knowing exactly what game the jersey piece has come from. I think it's really cool. It's time to close out with some music picks. I'm going to go with a single song to kick off the picks this week, and it is the song Formations by the artist Mild Minds. It's a bop. I don't listen to a lot of electronic music. I enjoy it, it's just not really my thing as a whole genre. But this band does a really nice blend of modern electronic sounds mixed with what reminds me personally of like 90s stuff that I'd hear like walking through the mall as a teenager and as a kid. I really eat that stuff up. It's also got this dash of feeling like it should have existed around the Oracular Spectacular MGMT days or the Manners Passion Pit days or like Cut Copy era. And that music really speaks to me. But this song was actually a 2020 release. I thought for a second that maybe I just missed it all this time and it did actually fall into that area. Not even. You know what? Forget it. Let's give you two more songs off of this album. I also really like the song Destinations and the song Views. Those are the two other I suggest. But you can honestly just go to their Spotify and let it play. Like I said, it's a bop. Pick number 2 is a band called See You Space Cowboy, and I'm specifically suggesting their 2021 full-length album, The Romance of Affliction. If you were a scene or an emo kid back in the day, or you listen to Screamo, this is right up your alley. It brings back that memory of logging onto MySpace and seeing all those bands, but with a really fresh new outlook at it. There's breakdowns, there's panic chords, there's fast chugging, there's double bass pedals, there's gang vocals, there's singing, there's screaming, dual vocals, harmonies, melodies, brutalness, all the things. The album even features guest vocals from recognizable scene stars of the day like Keith Buckley, formerly of Every Time I Die. You've got Aaron Gillespie from Underoath. And they even bring a rapper into a song. They do a lot of cool things on this album. Songs are heavy, melodic, and just catchy as can be all throughout the album. And it sounds like something that like fans of The Fall of Troy, the Dillinger Escape Plan, Under Oath even, and Drop Dead Gorgeous would enjoy. Some of my favorite songs on the album are With Arms That Bind and Lips That Lock, which features a really cool harmony of vocals towards the end of the song right after a really intense part. The song Sharpen What You Can, which features the rapper I spoke of. And the song Anything to Take Me Anywhere But Here, which starts a little bit jazzy, goes brutally heavy, and then closes out with this like bossa nova, jazzy elevator music thing that makes me feel like I'm on a cruise ship. It's just a very interesting album. And they're actually just wrapped up recording their next one, which I'm really excited to hear, that they say brings in a lot of like mid-2000s indie rock influences. Like I heard rumors of like Block Party and Modest Mouse, so we'll see what's coming next. Anyways, that's all for this week's wrap up. Be sure to like and subscribe. I will see you guys next week. Thanks for hanging. You guys rule. Peace and love.